Hi, this is Lenny Hart, and I'm back, and I wanted to talk about Proverbs chapter 9. And I've mentioned before in the past how I think the Proverbs are, I don't think, I know, at least in my experience, my knowledge, or whatever you want to call it, of the Bible, the Proverbs, at least the first 10 chapters, are talking about the local churches, the local congregations, and it doesn't really have anything good to say about them, in my opinion, the way I read this. And if anybody wants to comment, you can comment. But this is what I've seen, and I wanted to talk about chapter 9 right away of Proverbs. And I want to read the whole chapter. It's a very short chapter, and I want to show what I see are shifts in this chapter. How it goes from it's what the church proclaims on their billboards, and then it's God shifting. It's shifting to what God shows a child of God would hear, and then it goes back to look at the foolishness of the churches again at the end, and then it has a very unique ending. So let's look at this and let's read it. If you want to read it together, on chapter 9 Proverbs, and I got the Young's literal translation of the Holy Bible. It says, "Wisdom hath builded her house." Now, it says her house. This is, in my opinion, this is referring to the local churches, great or small, whether they be big, new, old, doesn't matter. Local churches, you know what they consist of a leadership and a fellowship, right? It consists of, they say the Lord's table and baptism and all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that right now. We're just going to talk about what she puts out. It says, "Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her pillars." 7. "She hath slaughtered her slaughter. She hath mingled her wine. She hath arranged her table. She hath sent forth her damsels. She crieth forth on the top of the high places of the city." The high places are churches. "Whoso is simple, let him turn aside and hither. Whoso lacketh heart, she saith unto him, Come, eat my bread, and drink the wine I have mingled. Forsake ye the simple and live, and be happy in the way of understanding." That's the first 6 verses. Now I want to take them verses apart little by little, and we're just going to go. We're going to go through each one, and I'm going to make commentary. It says, "Wisdom hath builded her house." Right. The churches, they build their own house. Go into any one of them and you'll see. "She hath hewn out her pillars." Her pillars are not the Bible. Her pillars are her own. Her own things hold her up. Her own ideas. "She hath slaughtered her slaughter." The slaughter is what their sacrifice. And what is their sacrifice? They have a false gospel. They say, Jesus died for everybody. So they manipulate the Bible, and they wrest the scriptures. WREST. They wrest, they twist, they turn the scriptures in order to make them say what they want to say. "She hath mingled her wine." What are wine? Wine are doctrines. "She hath arranged her table." What is the table? Well, that's their quote unquote the Lord's table, right? She arranged that. She made that up. "She hath sent forth her damsels." Who are her damsels? Well, these are the people that knock on your door and say, and not to make a mock, but come be like us. Come be like us. Come to our church and be like us. And who would want to be like you? You're thinking to yourself. Anyway, that's a little bit on the lighter side. "She crieth on the tops of the city, of the high places of the city," the high places of the churches. And what does she cry? She gets on AM and FM radio. That's how you know a preacher ain't no good, or a church ain't no good, if they're on radio. If they're not hindered by the government, because their message and their church and their everything they stand for is impotent. There's no threat, so they let them go. These churches they're not a threat. They don't teach anything good. So anyway, it says she crieth on the top of, she crieth, right? She's on radio stations. She's got her quote unquote missionaries on the street bugging everybody. Are you saved? Are you saved? Are you saved? Giving out gospel tracts. Whoso is simple, let him turn aside hither. Hey, they have the key, right? They have the key. The churches nowadays, and forever, they think that they are God dealerships, and they think they're salvation dealerships. Okay, so it says, "Who is simple? Let him turn hither." Well, what would be the simple? What a wise man would be considered a man that was saved. Well, if you're simple, you're not saved. But they can help you with that too, because, like I said, they are the salvation dealerships and the God dealerships. You can't get to Him apart from, oh, you got to be baptized by us. You got to be a member, and that's not true at all. The Bible's very clear. Jesus said, "I will build my church." And the gates of hell, in my opinion, are these local churches that shall not, he says, they shall not stand against it. Shall not prevail against it. Come eat my bread. What is their bread? Jesus said, "I'm the bread of life." The bread they have is not the bread of God. They don't teach a salvation that is in accordance with the Bible. And if they don't teach it in the salvation, they might have the salvation partly right, but they get it wrong when they start to do the, this is what, they shoot themselves. They don't realize they're trying to keep a book that can't be kept. In other words, when you say the qualifications for a bishop or a deacon, all these qualifications, no one qualifies for. The husband of one wife, not a brawler, not given to wine, not given to filthy lucre. All these things that men can be tempted by, no one can fill that office. The only person that can fill it is God Himself. And we know who He is. He walked on the earth many years ago. And it said, "Drink the wine I have mingled." And the wine are the doctrines. If you've ever tried to talk to someone who's drunk, that's equivalent to trying to talk to a church person. They are convinced. They're drunk. They're drunk it says, "Come drink the wine I have mingled." In other words, they have their own doctrines they teach, not the doctrines of the Bible. And then at the last part of this chapter 6, or chapter 9, verse 6, it says, "Forsake the simple and live." In other words, just come and do it our way. You need to get saved. You need to have our God in your life, and they're the dealerships of their own God, and be happy in the way of understanding. Now the shift comes in this verse. It says, "The instructor of the scorner is receiving for its shame, and the reprover of the wicked his blemish." Let me catch my breath a little bit here. It says, "Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Give reproof to the wise, and he loveth thee. Give to the wise, and he is wiser still. Make known to the righteous, and he increaseth learning." Wait a minute, righteous. Make known to the righteous. Who makes us right? It's God that makes a child of God right. It says, "Make known to the righteous, and he increaseth learning." The commencement of wisdom is the fear of Jehovah, and the knowledge of the holy ones is understanding. "For by me thy days multiply, and added to thee are years of life. If thou hast been wise for thyself, and if thou hast scorned, thyself bearest it." Now, there's another shift. It shifts back to, now you're a child of God. You've just read the first 6 verses. You understand, in my opinion, what the churches are. Then you read from 7 to 12, and you're understanding your position in God. And then when you get to 13, you're looking back at the church, in my opinion, and you're looking at it from the sidewalk, and you're looking and you're listening through the window, or you're looking through the door, and it says, a foolish woman is noisy. She is simple, and hath not known what. She hath sat at the opening of her house on a throne in the high places." We talked about the church being a high place. "To call those passing by the way." You drive by your car, and what do you see when you go by these churches? It says, "Come experience God with us." These these churches think that they are God dealerships. I can't stress this enough. This is something that I just didn't start looking at last week. I've been looking at this for a long time. Who are going straight on their paths. In other words, they already know what's up. These people know what's up. They're not looking at these churches. Whoso is simple, let him turn aside and hither, or in here. And whoso lacketh heart, she saith unto him, stolen waters are sweet. Hidden bread is pleasant. And he hath not known that Rephaim are there. That's dead. And it says, and in deep places of Sheol are invited ones. In other words, all the ones that are sitting in there are spiritually dead. They're spiritually dead. That's my opinion. Do with it with what you want. But that's Proverbs chapter 9. And I've been looking at this for years. And I've always been wanting to talk about it. And I got a rainy day and I'm talking about it. So thanks for stopping around. Take care.